Welcome to Comfort Habit number 2. I'm your host, Echo Van Wolf, and I'm going to talk to you guys about pretendians and how this is not going anywhere. So here's the thing. Alright. By blood and by race, I am a mixed person. I am part native, I am part black, I am part white. I have been this way before the internet existed. I have gone through so many different racial things. And some things I'm going to save for the Trump video because it's going to probably open up your eyes a little bit. As a young mixed kid growing up in Charlottesville, Virginia, I've had to um, I've had to deal with a lot of challenges. All right, I've had to deal with proving my blackness. Yeah, believe it or not, black people would not let me be black. All right, and I'll tell you guys bits and pieces of this, and it's because it's too long of a story. It's 51 years of pain to just go deep diving into it. And like I said, when I was younger, I just wanted to fucking be black. I really just wanted to be black so fucking bad, and black people didn't want me to be black. So let's just keep it like it is. They didn't want me to be black. Black people refused to let me be black. Let me see if I can make myself a little bit brighter. This light right here. Maybe a little bit too bright. Damn it. Anyway, black people didn't want me to be black. All right, it's nothing that I can really do about it. I wonder if I hang this here, will that affect y'all way of seeing me? It affects my way of seeing me, but I don't know if it affects your way of seeing me. Let me slide this over so I can see myself. Okay, well, that's as good as it's gonna get without making it bright enough to blind me. I grew up fighting to be black. All right, it took forever. There are still places where people still won't believe that I'm black. And I know that I'm mixed. I've always been mixed. I've known I've been mixed since I started grade school. The problem was everyone else knew that I was mixed. And it became a problem. And most of the time it became a problem because of people who just didn't like mixed people. I know you're thinking, but didn't you say this was about pretendians? Yeah, we're going to get there. Give me a minute. The thing with being mixed and growing up mixed and dealing with racial insults and slurs and shit is that only mixed people really have to go through this, especially if you phenotypically look mixed. A lot of the pretendians phenotypically don't look like me, right? But I am a mixed person. I know that you can see some black features. Let me rephrase. I hope that you can see some black features. And I know that you can see some native features. And I know that you can see some white features. And I still gotta shave these goddamn sideburns. That's gotta be the thing I do after I'm done filming. Gotta shave them. They're gonna grow back, like, in like maybe 2 weeks. Now, if this hair would just grow, my ponytail would be at my shoulders by now. My very first ponytail was at my shoulder blades. Not that that's relevant, but I only cut it because alcoholic bums kept thinking I was a girl and they were following me home. I also stopped wearing jeans for that reason. Plus, it's a lot easier to fight in khakis and cargo pants than it is to fight in jeans, or hip huggers as we used to call them. Anyway, back to the story. I only dated girls darker than me because I wanted to be black, and it never worked out. It never worked out. Flip the script years later, those same girls would always think that I thought I was too good for them because now I was only dating white girls and other girls of other ethnicities. And my exact words to them is what I'll tell you. I'm not going to wait for 40 years for a black girl that's going to treat me right to be born and raised properly and treat me right when there are girls my age that are just different races, different cultures. And they actually talk to me, where black girls would always tell me, we don't mess with half-breeds. Now, I've had like maybe 2 or 3 black girls that didn't do that. The 2 that was most prominent, they both moved away. So wherever they are, I hope they're well. I hope they're happy. I did bump into one a long, long time ago back in high school, but I didn't know it was her because see how yellow I am? And see how brown I am? She was yellow like me, but she got dark. Wherever she moved to, she got dark. Like she went from up here to down here and stayed there. Got a little darker actually. So that fucked me up because I didn't know it was her. And she's like, we used to date each other. I was like, I don't think so. She's like, you don't remember me? I was like, no. I'm Tutu. It's like, ain't no fucking way. But it was her. So shout out to Tutu. Anyway, I know she's well. At least I hope she's well. And the other girl, her name was Mona. I will give you her name because I have no idea if she's even alive. And the name that they knew me by in the projects was Jonah. So Mona and Jonah sitting in a tree. Kissing. First come love, then come marriage, then come Mona with the baby carriage. But again, Mona moved away. Shout out to Mona. Wherever you are, darling. I hope your life has gone way better than mine. Because my life only went downhill from there. But anyway. I went through enough shit that accepting my mixedness was the only option I had. Especially when I became a teenager and when I started working at Kegler's and the white guy wouldn't stop playing Achy Breaky Friends and I got friends in small places and whatever the fuck and the Thunder Rose and the only good country song that he sung back then, oh dear, or played back then was Alan Jackson's Way Down Yonder on the Chattahoochee. And by the time I got through high school, I had fully embraced my three heritages. At least I thought I did, Till I started having like dreams and had to have that shit explained to me, and it was just really a lot of shit going on. Now, the Pretendians are out here. One, if they're watching this, they just got like a mad story they could steal right there. And it's not impossible because they have stolen my Sasquatch story. They have stolen the canoe thing that I could have done. And I was on TikTok. I made there's a bump from shaving. Y'all probably can't see it, and it'll be open again tomorrow when I shave at some point. Anyway, so I'm sorry, it's annoying me because it's now you have that pick me thing, not pick my nose, but pick the scab thing. Anyway, it's genetic. So, because my nephew gave me that, I don't know if y'all can see it, that little thing right there on my thumb. Anyway, not relevant. What is relevant is that I I put a story on TikTok about Sasquatch, and either that same day or the next day, my memory slides, so you have to forgive me. A Pretendian in a different live used my canoe story and my Sasquatch story. And I don't know who it was because I was in the hallway, so I couldn't identify the name. But sure as fuck, if this ass fucker wasn't taking my shit. And so I put a story out that he couldn't take because the details were so great that no one else has lived this unless they're in my family. All right? And I'm not special by any means necessary. I'm not special. My great-grandmother, her name is Ada, and she is from the Chickahominy area of Charles City. Now, I'm not sure if she's a Chickahominy or if she's Cherokee, and my grandmother on my mom's side is part Cherokee and part black, but how much Cherokee is questionable because she was adopted and raised black. So everything we've done for the bulk of my life has been black. It's not been native, And every time I've applied for acting, it's always, you're a good-looking man, Mr. Williams, but you're not what we're looking for. Come to find out what it actually is that you don't look black, and you're short. Which one, I'm definitely short, and which two, I know I don't look black, but I am part black. I'm mixed. And no one's writing stories for people like me to actually have characters to play. All right? And the incident that changed it all, and I wasn't listening to my ancestors, and they've been talking to me the whole fucking time. I just, no, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not going to do that. Resistance, which is why I changed my name from James Williams Jr. to Echo Fang Grey Wolf for a very long time now. One of these things is going to catch. So, every time I went to a casting call, I never applied as a Native American. I applied as a mixed person. And every time I talked to a casting director, it was no, 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 no. And the one casting director that cut everything off at Evan Almighty, she had talked to me, and she's like, you're a Native American. And I said, no, ma'am. I'm a mixed Native. I have Native ancestry, but I am not a Native American. She's like, well, you're Native enough to pass. You should be making your way down to South Carolina because they're hiring for natives to play in the movie Conquest 1492. I didn't have a car. I didn't have the means to get there. So that kind of fucked that up. But I hadn't thought, I was Native enough to pass. That never crossed my mind. I know I was mixed, but I didn't think I was Native enough to pass. That was the ancestors talking and me just being a dick and not listening. So that's part of the reason why I built myself out as Echo Fang Grey Wolf now. Because at 51, and I haven't been working, I've been in this business for over 20 some odd damn years, and I haven't been working, So there's that. And I've written all scripts and everything, and my character's always going to either be black and Asian or black and Native, because I'm going to make sure that black's in there, and I'm going to make sure that that Native's in there. And, I do Kung Fu, and I have been mistaken for someone who's Filipino or Hawaiian. So, as a mixed race person, I can play damn near any character. I can't play a white person. That's not an option. No one in their right mind is going to say that I'm a white man. The key to that was the words, no one in their right mind are going to think, hey, this guy's white. Yeah, let's make him a white guy. No. You might be able to pull that off with that Eddie Murphy makeup artist, but no. And I know, you guys think I've deviated, right? No, I haven't deviated. I'm just building up the drama. The Pretendians. Before COVID, there were no Pretendians. Well, there were Pretendians. They were just white people. And the Pretendians on TikTok, specifically Modern Warrior, and a couple of other females were just eating these guys up. See, the good news on me is I never claimed to be a Native American. I always let everyone know I'm mixed. The bio's right fucking there. And, now when I do a Monday Night Monologue, I do Native shit. Praying that it catches someone's eye where they be like, that's our Red Wolf. 1, 2, and 3, that's our Red Wolf. So if Disney sees that and they go, that's our Red Wolf right there. He can be in all 3 movies, playing 3 different characters. We can age him up and we can age him down. Now all he has to do is be able to act. Which I'm sure they'll give me an acting coach and improve big time the shit that I've done tonight. But anyway, there's always room for improvement. There's always room for improvement. But the Pretendians, this stuff started with a Roland Martin thing with my lack of respect for Ice Cube, who went up there and said that black people are the real American Indians, which is bullshit. And for all the dummies that are watching and that are trying to steal our shit, Native Americans and American Indians are the same people. There was no scientific evidence, and y'all have not proven that black people were here before 1492. You don't have the evidence because if you did, you wouldn't be on social media. You'd be making that money. And this is how you know how dumb this shit actually is. I know for a fucking fact that if I wasn't mixed and that I was all the way black, and I knew for a fucking fact that black people were the original American Indians, and I had the evidence, nothing would stop me outside of the government putting a bullet between my eyes from telling the government, hey, look, I got all this motherfucking evidence. I got all this fucking evidence that proves that black people are the American Indians. No. Your Pretendians are online. They're on Facebook. They're on Instagram. They're on YouTube. They're on TikTok. They might have made it to Snapchat. I don't have a Snapchat yet, but I'm going to get one. They might be in all these places spewing this bullshit about how they came in had dragons, griffins, and dinosaurs, and they they were doing the damn thing. You know, they had all this technology because they came from Atlantis this and Atlantis that, and it's a fantastic story about griffins and dragons and dinosaurs and telekinetic powers, and they had giants and cyclopses and all the stuff that would make a great episode of The Outer Limits or Tales from the Dark Side or the Sci-Fi Channel. And somehow or another, y'all got y'all asses kicked by a fucking stick with a rock in it. That would be a tomahawk. Wooden tipped arrows. And also rock tipped arrows and rock tipped spears. And then not only did you lose when you had a full complement of dragons, griffins, dinosaurs, you got women riding Kodiak grizzly bears, and y'all had Cyclops, and did I mention y'all had dragons? Fire-breathing dragons. We've all seen Game of Thrones. We know what one pissed-off dragon can do. That girl had 3 of them. The blonde chick, she had 3 fucking dragons. You're going to tell me somehow some Asian-looking cats crossed the Barren Strait with bows and arrows, with stone-tipped spears, and fucked y'all up when y'all had dragons and cyclopses and giants, and you're gonna tell me y'all couldn't fight? Because even a place such as Paradise has guards that guard the place to keep it paradisey. Anyway, that's not a real word, but it can be. If a dragon can be taken out by a fucking tomahawk before the tomahawk was traded up for an axe or a hatchet, it's just a rock. It's a very sharp rock attached to a stick with animal hide. The stuff that, wraps the rock around the stick. Yeah. And your dragons lost to that, and they breathe fire. And griffins. And in one of the lives on TikTok, some little dumbass literally said that European Americans, white people, got to America on Zeppelins. And I'm thinking to myself, does he mean the hot air balloons or the Goodyear blimp? Because the Goodyear blimp is a Zeppelin. And before the Goodyear blimp was approved, they had to go through a whole lot of tests because of the one Zeppelin that blew up and killed a lot of goddamn people. But yeah, they said that white people came here on Zeppelins and they had electricity before Benjamin Franklin got struck by lightning. And I mean, the stories just go on and on and on. And I'm like, are you guys this fucking insane? No one is possibly believing this shit. Because you don't have evidence. And worse than that, they've had people who think they're gods. So they have, like this napkin. I'm gonna angle this a little bit. So, here you have the napkin. But it's a styrofoam cup that they're using. And they're doing this. And the wind behind it blows the cup. And they're talking about how they have superpowers and shit. How they have telekinetic powers. And I mean, the stories are just like, I'm going to make this Pikachu dance. Y'all watch. He's going to dance. See my hands? See that? My knees hitting the bed. And Pikachu's barely moving. But let's try it again. I'm going to make this Pikachu dance. See my hands? Yeah, they were doing shit like that. Curb your enthusiasm, motherfuckers. But anyway, they were doing, like, ridiculously stupefied shit. And, okay, I'm going to state this and pray that pretendians aren't watching, but in case they are, excuse me. A lot of natives are going to tell you there are magical creatures that you don't fuck with in native folklore. And depending on the tribe, not all Sasquatches are your friends. Deer Woman and Thunderbird are supposed to be spirits of vengeance. Cultural exchanges happens. Wendigo is Ojibwa, and so is that water spirit thing. And same with the water dragon-like thing. I don't know what it's called, but there's a water thing that snatches babies and turns them into that. That's how they procreate. They like become water sprites or whatever the fuck they're called. There's no Ojibwa word for it. I don't know it. I'm not a Ojibwa, but they have these things. Wendigo is basically a First Nations legend. Almost every First Nation has a Wendigo story and a Bigfoot story. And Bigfoot and Wendigo are not the same. They are not the same. Now, as far as Bigfoot, there's like supposedly a good clan of Bigfoot and a bad clan of Bigfoot. And again, this changes tribally. So you have to be mindful. And this is another reason why I say, you know what? I'm not fucking trying to meet none of them. I don't want to meet the deer woman. I don't want to be stomped to death. I don't want to meet the thunderbird. I don't really want to meet Coyote unless he's going to teach me how to do things. And I don't want to meet the polar bear goddess. I don't want to meet the fox spirit. I don't mind meeting the gray wolf spirit since I took his name. I'm never going to be the bear, you know. And I'm a really tiny wolf. But I have the wolf spirit. And there's another thing the Pretendians are doing besides taking actual animal names and native names. They're taking the word chief. In modern terms, the chief is now elected versus by blood, depending on the chieftain and all that other shit. It really will depend on the tribe on how you become a chief. And there's more than one kind of chief. And I'm not going to keep saying things like this because I'm giving Pretendians information because I'm pretty sure out of 645 of you, one of you could possibly be that Pretendian that's following me on TikTok. Okay? And I don't want to give up too much more. So, the story that I put out there, which is true, my great-grandmother, Ada, and I, in the summertime, I only had her for the summertime, minus the 2 summers that I missed because my parents were divorced. And my dad lived in Smithfield, my grandma Ada lived in Smithfield, my grandma Bay lived in Smithfield with her corn and her fucking pancakes. My grandma on my mama's side lives here in Charlottesville. I live in Charlottesville. It's a 3-hour drive going and coming back. So, as a kid, you know, I got to spend some time with her. My late Aunt Ruth and I had a discussion with her about her once, right? And I was like, well, my grandma Ada, which was her grandmother, my great-grandmother, was never mean to me. And my Aunt Ruth flipped out and she said, that's because you look like them. You don't look like us. Because my grandfather's black. And a lot of my aunts and uncles, they look more black, while all of our generation, our cousins and everything, we look more native than black. But see, I'm triracial. So I'm like, everybody else is like half-breeds, but I'm triracial. But the thing is, like, certain family members also married people from that area where my grandma Bay and Ada originally came from. So some of us look more Asianish, but some of us look black. But a lot of my aunts and uncles, mostly one uncle married a black woman, and my Aunt Lorraine, I know she's mixed, but she might actually be native. I'm not really sure. Or she has native blood. My fucking Uncle Robert and his wife, she's black. But, you know, my Uncle Bruce, who has passed, we're all mixed. And whenever Bruce got in trouble, he'd always say the old Indian woman caught us doing some shit. And the old Indian woman was my great-grandmother, Ada. So, there's that. I only had her until I was 10. I didn't get to learn anything native. We played with fucking refrigerator magnets. I did get folklore, for what that's worth. I got folklore. And it didn't ever really come back to me until my ex-girlfriend and I was sitting in the first Avatar movie with the blue people, and I'm like, does this seem familiar? And I'm watching, and we're like 10 minutes into them being in Pandora, like after he got used to his body, like, this is fucking too familiar. He's like, what are you talking about? I was like, this shit is Native American. He's like, what? Because they have a bow and arrow? I said, well, technically a bow and arrow is like universal. But this shit is Native American. And she's like, what? I said, look at their fucking outfits. Their outfits are fucking native. He's like, what? I was like, they're fucking, all this shit's Native American. Everything about it is Native American. The taming of the wild dragon, there's a story about taming a wild fucking horse. The tree thing, there's a story about that. There's a story about the two brothers that turn into trees also. I'm sorry, I probably shouldn't have said that, but it's done now, and I can't erase this video. I'm not starting all over. There's a lot of other native tales that was like smack dead in this fucking movie, and I'm like, all of this shit is Native American, every bit of it, except for the fact that they're fucking in space. And she's like, how would you know that? I said, because I'm fucking part Native American, and I know these stories because my great grandmother used to tell these to me in the summertime as a fucking kid, and she laughed it off. But anyway, my Aunt Ruth and I, when we had our little discussion, she was like, well, Grandma Ada didn't really like black people. And I was like, what? She's like, Grandma Ada didn't really like black people. And I said, how does that work with Grandma Bay? Because Grandma Bay is brown like me. I said, well, I don't know how to explain that, but Grandma Ada didn't really like black people. And I was like, okay, so why did she let Grandma Bay marry grandfather? He was like, what the fuck could she do? I was like, oh yeah, I guess you got a point there. So anyway, I have a black grandfather. So I didn't meet him until like a year before he died. So yeah, like I said. But on my mom's side, I had a quadroon or octoroon grandfather who was very white passing. My mom is very white passing. My grandma is half native, half black, and she was adopted. So we don't know where the fuck she came from. We were just told it was Cherokee, because it's the go-to tribe. But anyway, point being made is that the Pretendians are using the 5 civilized tribes, the Choctaw, the Chickasaw, the Cherokee, the Muskogee Creek, and the Seminole. And they're all over the internet. And they're also stealing Native American culture and Native American stories, like the one I just gave up. But back to my Aunt Ruth and I, and we talked about this shit like a very long time. It was like not too long after COVID, not too long after she went through some shit with our cousin who stole her house from under her and sold it because he's a piece of human filth, and she's not here to stop me from fucking him up. So, Goodman, stay in North Carolina or South Carolina. Don't come to Smithfield. If I catch you, we're going to have a chat. I'm not going to confess to doing something stupid, okay, people? We're just going to have a chat. It's going to be a nice chat, I promise. Very nice chat for one of us. Anyway, I'm joking. I'm not going to put my hands on a bastard. But, karma doesn't forget an address, Goodman. So, yeah. She may have forgiven you before she passed. But understand, she would have had a house to go home to had you and your wife not stole it. So, yeah, you're a dick. Anyway, I'm not going to reveal his first name. Just know that his last name is Goodman, and he stole his aunt's house from her with the help of his wife. And both of them can eat a bag of dicks. You don't fuck over family. Now, moving back on, that my aunt has passed, the aunt in which we were talking, and she goes, well, Ada treated you right because you look like her. And I was like, you never pay attention to shit until you get old enough where time flies by and it's too fucking late. I never paid attention to that shit. I just thought Ruth was being funny. But she was deadly serious. Anyway, God rest my Aunt Ruth. And she will be getting chapter 4 along with my Uncle Wendell, who will be getting chapter 4 dedicated to them in my book Sundown. The Pretendians have gone insane with some of the things they're saying. And one, don't pick an animal or a chief in your tag, your title, whatever the title of this is, Kung Fu Havoc number 2, because animals are very honored by the tribe. Lots of tribes honor lots of animals, especially the ones that use totem poles. So if you don't know what that strength of that animal is, you probably should not use it. Grey wolf rolls off the tongue, and it is one of the animals next to birds that I am equally attracted to. So besides, I've been sequestered by a couple of falcons and a couple of crows. They have been, and I want to say they've gotten on my last goddamn nerve, but they're around, and I appreciate them. Anyway, I'm gonna end this because this thing says we've been on for 30 minutes and some change. I'll give it 10 more. If you're gonna be chief such and such of whatever Pretendian tribe, you better be willing to live with the responsibility and the consequences that come with being the chief. It's not sunshines and rainbows. You are responsible for everyone in your tribe, and I mean everyone. If you are the chief, the big chief, you are responsible for everybody. If you are a war chief, you are responsible for that warring party and the raids and shit that you do. And if you're not really up to that, it's probably not a title that you should ever call yourself chief. You shouldn't, because you're not up, you're not ready, and it's not something that you should be going by. Mine is simple: Echo Fang Grey Wolf. And the reason I use it's complete and total bullshit, but it works because it actually makes sense. So when people say, how did you come up with Echo Fang Grey Wolf? It's really quite simple. The voices of my ancestors cry out from the past. Or should I say, they echo from the past. And they strike like the fangs of a grey wolf. It's kind of true. It's not complete and total bullshit. I made it up. But when people ask, Echo Fang Grey Wolf, how do you come up with that? It's quite simple. The voices of my ancestors echo from the past and strike like the fangs of a grey wolf. It's awesome when you think about it. But as a mixed person, that's the closest I'm ever going to get to a naming ceremony. Until I can reconnect with a tribe, or until I can enroll. And I am probably never going to enroll because I don't think I have enough native blood to count. And I am also never going to enroll unless it's like mandatory because of Trump. And I'm never going to enroll because I don't know what it's going to do to my military stuff when I finally reach the age of 60 where I can receive it. So there's that shit. Anyway, I've had you guys for 33 minutes and some change, and I want to say thank you for hearing me out. And I also want to say, be aware of the Pretendians. Just be aware of the Pretendians. And for the record, no, I do not speak the language, but I have these discs up here that have Cherokee language on them. I've had them for over 20 years, but I never thought that I would have to use them. This is not the disc. Uh-oh. Oh, shit. These are not the disc either, because these are films. But they're on a thing like this. I do have them. I just don't know where the fuck I placed them. I thought I had them up here. That means I have to hunt. Fan-fucking-tastic. And I don't know where the fuck I put them. But I do have them. I do have the Cherokee language on DVDs. So I'll have to find them now. Fuck. They're in this junky-ass room. Somewhere. But for the record, I do have them. And I've taken up 35 minutes of your time. But just understand, I don't speak the language. I do know folklore. And just be careful. And if you are native and you're watching this and you're full blood or urban native or a reconnected native like myself, don't share too much shit on the internet, because they are stealing our shit. They literally are stealing our shit. And they are going to run with whatever the fuck they find. So just be careful what you put out there, which is why when I do my Monday night monologues, you know, and I know if you're following me, it's acting. It's not real shit. Hopefully you like it, but it's not real native shit. Alright? Thank you guys for watching. I am your host, Echo Fang Grey Wolf. This is 35 minutes and some change of your life you just can't get back. So I do apologize for that. Thank you for watching.